Students, today, we come to learn about China Post large parcels. If China Post small package is an air shipping product launched by China Post for small items less than 2 kilograms, then China Post S large parcel is a postal logistics service product launched for large items as the name suggests. First of all, let's look at the meaning of China Post large parcel. China Post large parcel is also known as the China Post International Large Parcel Service, or China Post large parcel. China Post large parcels are suitable for mailing heavier goods, generally more than 2 kilograms, and less than 30 kilograms. The weight limit in some countries is 20 kilograms, and large parcels can be sent to more than 200 countries around the world. They can reach all parts of the world. They can be reached wherever there is a post office, and they can be tracked and checked throughout the entire process. Then let's take a look at the classification of China Post's large parcels. China Post's large parcels are divided into China Post's air large parcels, China Post's air and land large parcels, and China Post's sea and land large parcels. Usually, when we talk about China Post large parcels, we refer to China Airlines large parcels. It is generally not recommended to use China Post air, water and land freight parcels and China Post water and land freight parcels because their timeliness is extremely unstable. Next, let's look at the weight and volume limitations of China Post's large parcels. The weight limit is that the weight of each parcel must be greater than or equal to 0.1 kilograms, but not more than 30 kilograms. In some countries, the weight limit is 20 kilograms, and each express shipment cannot exceed one piece. The size limit is that for a large parcel with a weight limit of 30 kilograms, it must be less than or equal to 1.5 meters long on one side, plus the maximum horizontal circumference other than the length is less than or equal to 3 meters. For a large parcel with a weight limit of 20 kilograms with a length of less than or equal to 1.05 meters on one side, plus the maximum horizontal circumference other than the length of less than or equal to 2 meters, all minimum side lengths shall not be less than 0.24 meters, and the width shall not be less than 0.16 meters. Next, let's take a look at the large parcels of prohibited items in China Post. It includes articles prohibited by national laws and regulations for circulation or delivery, reactionary newspapers, periodicals, publicity materials or obscene materials, explosives, combustibles, corrosive, radioactive and toxic dangerous materials, articles harmful to public health, perishable articles, various live animals, various currencies and articles that are not suitable for mailing conditions. Then let's take a look at the advantages of China Post's large parcel. First of all, the first advantage is low cost. The price is slightly lower than EMS, and like EMS, regardless of volume and weight, there is no remote surcharge. Second, delivery is relatively convenient and can be reached all over the world as long as there is a post office. Third, it is convenient and fast. The unified label is uniformly printed by the company, which reduces the trouble for customers. Fourth, it provides parcel tracking and inquiry services. Information can be checked on the China Post website on the day the parcel leaves, and there is follow-up throughout the journey. Then, let's look at the delivery time of China Post's large parcel. It generally lasts 4 to 10 days for neighboring Asian countries, 7 to 20 days for major countries in Europe and the United States, and 7 to 30 days for other regions and countries. Finally, let's take a look at the freight calculation of China Post's large parcel. According to the price of 1 kilogram of the first weight, plus the price of 1 kilogram of the subsequent weight, and multiplied by the quantity of the subsequent weight. The weight of the parcel cannot exceed 30 kilograms. In some countries, it cannot exceed 20 kilograms. China Post requires a customs declaration fee of 8 yuan per parcel. Regardless of volume and weight, there are no remote surcharges, and there are no fuel surcharges. Therefore, the freight rate of China Post's large parcel is equal to the sum of the first freight rate plus the subsequent freight rate multiplied by the subsequent weight, multiplied by the discount rate, plus the customs declaration fee. We can refer to the following table for the freight price list of China mail large parcels to some countries. Next, let's take a look at an example. A cross-border e-commerce seller has a parcel to be shipped to Japan. The parcel weighs 2.7 kilograms and has a volume of 50 centimeters multiplied by 30 centimeters multiplied by 15 centimeters. Can the parcel be sent by China Post in a small parcel? If you choose China Post large parcel and the merchant receives a 20% discount on freight from the freight forwarder, what should the freight rate for the parcel be? First of all, let's see if the parcel can be sent in a China Post small parcel. The weight of the parcel is 2.7 kilograms, which exceeds the weight limit of 2 kg for a China Post small parcel, so we cannot use China Post small parcel to send it. Let's take a look again. If we choose China Post large parcels, we can get a 20% discount rate. Look at the freight list of China Post large parcels in front of us. We can find that the freight for the first kilogram to Japan is 124.2 yuan, and the continued weight is 29.6 yuan per kilogram. In this case, our cargo is 2.7 kilograms. Excluding the first weight of 1 kilogram, the subsequent weight is 2 kilograms, because the subsequent weight must be calculated in whole numbers. Therefore, from the formula, the freight of China Post's large parcel is equal to the freight of the first weight, plus the sum of the continued weight freight times the continued weight, multiplied by the discount rate, plus the customs declaration fee. It is equal to the first weight of 124.2 yuan plus 29.6 times the sum of 2 kilograms, multiplied by a discount of 0.8, plus the customs declaration fee of 8 yuan, which is equal to 154.70 yuan. Therefore, the shipping cost of the parcel sent in a China Post large parcel should be 154.70 yuan. China Post large parcels are mainly aimed at large and heavy items. They are based on the launch of small parcels by China Post as a supplementary logistics service for small parcels. We need to focus on grasping the weight and size limitations of China Post's large parcel, as well as its freight calculation. These are useful knowledge points that we may use when designing the delivery of parcels in cross-border e-commerce and related industries in the future.